It doesn't matter what financing you use. Nobody's going out to buy financing because they love the financing. They're going out because they're trying to buy this business and they want some other outcome for their life. They want freedom and autonomy. They want to create some financial flexibility for their future. What we sell is a tool. And so we want to find more ways to help people do that successfully to get to the outcome they envisioned.
Take us back to that time. You're sitting down, right? And you're concocting this idea of, I want to start a funding company. How does that work? And what's your goal when you're thinking about it? What's your vision at that point in time?
It sounds like you haven't heard the origin story, because it's very different and not nearly as intentional as
No, I haven't.
So my first business that I ever started was a real estate company. And we specialized in doing sort of full cradle to grave, helping people get into investment real estate. So for people who had never done it before, it's like, how do you find what you want to invest in? How do you have the tools and resources to manage that and find the right way to maximize cash flow on it? And so we did that. And in the process of running that business, I met my longtime business partner, David Nilsson. And at the time, David was doing some raw land development. And so we teamed up on a couple of projects. One of the projects was subdividing this larger plot of land into subplots so that we could put housing on each of those. And at the time, our strategy was, if you put down a concrete foundation and then you secured a mobile home to it, you could get the fact that it was a mobile home removed off of title. And so you went from mobile home financing, which was this much, to now Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, any of the other qualified funding. So that was our strategy. And our strategy for funding this was, hey, we're going to subdivide each of these plats, and then we are going to fundraise for them like dominoes. So the second that we have the fundraising to do one, we're just going to get it started, and so on and so forth. And so we went and met with these attorneys to set up entities for each of these subplats that we were going to fundraise for. And they said, hey, have you thought about using self-directed retirement accounts? And we said, what are you talking about? And they gave us an education about this idea that you could use retirement funds to invest in these alternative assets. And so we went out to our network and ended up getting about 2/3 of the funding for this project, the totality of the project, through self-directed IRAs. And in the process, we figured out something. One, all the companies out there that helped people do this didn't speak English. They were bank custodians and attorneys. And so they weren't particularly friendly for figuring out what to do and how it needed to work. And the second thing we realized was no one knew about this. I mean, we were deep in the real estate investment community and we had no idea this even existed. So we saw an opportunity, or thought we saw an opportunity, to start a company. And that was really the original genesis of Guidant. And we started to do the business funding about 6 months into the business, because really what broke through the business for us was advertising on Google. In that stage, advertising on Google was really early, but it enabled us to find these needles in a haystack of people that wanted to invest in these alternative assets using retirement funds. But about 10% of the people that wanted to invest in a business that they were going to actively be a part of, like a franchise. And you can't do that inside of a self-directed IRA. And so we had this pre-programmed, communication that we would give to people, telling them the reason that they can't do that. And one of the initial leads we were talking to said, well, yeah, I can. I've been working with this CPA and here's what he told me, and yada, yada, yada. We asked a few more questions. We got the information, and then we went and looked it all up. And we're like, well, this seems legitimate. And legitimate enough that we went out and hired an ERISA attorney and said, we want you to dig into this and tell us how this works. Does this work? And, is there a way to make this work? Because we think it's really compelling if there's a way that people can use retirement funds to invest in companies that they're going to actively be a part of building. And the attorney came back after his review and said, yeah, it's legitimate. Here's some things I don't like about what this particular CPA was saying. Here's some things I would take into consideration that he's not talking about. And we said, that sounds great. We'd like to offer you a job. And so we recruited this attorney to come on and help us build this out. And that just came to dominate what we do as a company over the years. And really, the thing that we were most passionate about. So about 12 years ago, we sold off the IRA side of the business to really double down and focus on these small business customers and really the totality of the needs for people to get set up and get set up successfully. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what financing you use. Nobody's going out to buy financing because they love the financing. They're going out because they're trying to buy this business and they want some other outcome for their life. They want freedom and autonomy. They want to create some financial flexibility for their future. And it's just, what we sell is a tool. And so we want to find more ways to help people do that successfully to get to the outcome they envisioned.
If you enjoyed this short clip from the podcast, you can check out another short clip right here. Or if you want to watch the full episode of this podcast, you can watch that here. And remember, knowledge is not power. It's applied knowledge that's power. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.